Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is September 12th, 2021. Howard, I know you're on a biking trip in
That's right.
Italy.
10 p.m. I did 40 miles today, but it was the easy, mostly downhill. We started at the tip of Austria, meeting Italy. So we kind of started at the top. And so tomorrow we got real. Tomorrow it gets real. 7 days.
Who's the worst in your group?
I think you know what that feeling when you're the worst of five and they're just waiting for you the whole time. But, I'm just here to survive. What's going on in the US? Take it away.
In the US, everything is, bright and shining. Super hot here in San Diego in the 80s, but I'm sure that there are places where it's a lot warmer. So we're not going to complain about that. What's going on in the market? Basically, we're finally starting to see some pickup in volatility, which is to be expected. It's September already, and seasonally, it's a kind of weak period for stocks. So we're starting to see some pullbacks. Last week, we saw quite a few breakout attempts that kind of failed, at least for now. I mean, not a big deal. It's kind of normal to see in the indices pull back 3-4% here and there, and the S&P 500 in particular tested its 50-day moving average like 7 or 8 times so far this year, and it bounced every single time. I wouldn't be surprised if it tests that level again, which is around 440. But for the most part, the uptrend remains intact. The technology stocks are the strongest. The vaccine stocks, we talked about it last week and kind of woke up since I think Moderna came out and said that they're working on a 2-in-1 COVID and flu vaccine. And they said, you can get it every year. Of course, this is their wet dream. You need to get a new boost every single year now. That's the talk. So for a brief second, after that news was released, we saw all the recovery stock kind of try to bounce, but that didn't last. Like you see it right here, like they reversed the next day. So definitely all the recovery stocks, the back to normal cyclical stocks are kind of in trouble. You see the airlines pretty weak. I guess energy is holding a little bit better, but not looking that great. It's kind of bear flag here. Retail, let's take a look at retailers. XRT also, it could break down here. It could be a range, but it could break down. Let's take a quick look at SPG. As you can see,
Great runs though. I think the interesting thing was on the tech side, Apple didn't hold. It was long awaited breakout of the 150 level and didn't hold it. So let's see. Listen, wouldn't surprise me to see a test of the 200-day. But again, dips are being bought right now. Rates are low. I think get through September here with not too much damage. People start looking forward to the new year. I don't know. It just seemed like a quiet week. I'm trying to think. Crypto sold off. I'm trying to think what happened this week that was memorable.
Well, definitely started with the sell-off in crypto. And
I think
Friday,
the big thing is the SEC, and the little tit-a-tat with Coinbase, but again, like this is small fry compared to what's happening. How are the financials?
weakening, as in general, the whole market is kind of weakening. Keep in mind that the biggest drawdown in the S&P 500 so far this year has been like 4.5%, which is very, very rare. It's been a very low volatility year. It's been like a slow grind higher. So it's not unexpected to see, some pickup in volatility. Like on average, the average annual drawdown in the S&P is like 10%. And we've only seen 4.5.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be surprised to see more.
You're starting to see more acquisitions. You see in fintech, once Square bought the Australian company, PayPal bought a company in Japan, a BNPL. So there's a lot of kind of a arms race in fintech for a super app. So you're seeing
For,
a lot of
for
acquisitions.
buy now, pay later. Look at the firm.
Yeah,
What's going on
look at
here?
a firm was left for dead a few
New
months
leader.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was left for dead, and you can see what happens when you lean short a stock in a tape like this, and it just gave fuel. Like this was left for like 3 months ago. It was like get me out, and it's more than doubled since then in like 3 4 weeks. So in an acquisition frenzy type market where everybody's stock is overvalued and we're late in the cycle, you got to be really careful if you want to short something. But at the same time, I wouldn't have bought a firm, uh, and now that Square made that acquisition, everything's in play. But at the same time, I think we're still at valuations that are such, it's really hard to just get excited about anything. Zoom sells off, but it's still trading at a bazillion times. So it's not like you have conviction to go in there and buy these things, even if they're your favorite companies. So let's see that, watching the FANG breakouts, Apple and Netflix. Netflix kind of fell back into its base, I think, at the end of the week. And that was one of the later stage breakouts. So not horrible, but I mean, you got to sort of wait and see if these things hold their breakouts. And
Yeah.
Google finally gave a little bit of a pullback, but again, no entry points. You just,
So the one thing that stands out is that we continue to see mostly favorable reaction to earnings. I mean, it wasn't only a firm last week. Take a look at Lululemon, big gap up after earnings, kind of holding the gap at all-time highs. What was the other one? MDB, also earnings gap, holding the gap. So this has been the story this earnings season, that record earnings, and most importantly, the market is reacting favorably to those earnings. So this is why I think that
you're watching specifically, or just the high beta stuff.
I mean, a stock like MDB I'm watching, it's on my list. Lululemon. I'm also watching on Friday we saw the semiconductors and industrial metal stocks. They try to break out, but they finish weak. So I'll be watching if they can go above their levels on Friday. That would be something bullish.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, I'm heavy cash right now because the market, I think it's in a pullback mode, and we might see a little bit more weakness, but that weakness will be a buying opportunity at some point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what stocks have stayed really hard. The Upstart, I'm trying to think, Upstart stayed really hot. Never would have seen this, but a lot of the Momomo guys have just had a great.
NVIDIA is holding well. As I said, in general, the semiconductor space made all-time highs on Friday, even though it kind of closed weak, but still showing relative strength.
Yeah, I think you just got to. There's not much change last week, so you don't want to overplay my hand and just have too many positions on here. But the tape is strong. It's a little whipsaw here, but that could be seasonally. All right, and we kind of got to earnings.
Yeah, I mean, basically the earnings season is over, so now we're waiting for the next earnings season.
The travel, I don't see it getting any better. There's so much misinformation. That I was in Munich, and now I'm in a small Italian town. It's just really quiet, really, really quiet. So, I wouldn't be chasing the travel stocks here.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, like you said, the airline stocks are just starting to pre-report really soft numbers. So, the old economy is still struggling. All right, buddy, have a safe week. I don't know where I'll be next week in the Dolomite somewhere, but I'll check in. At least we kept the show going.
Exactly. All right, Howard, have fun.
All right, have a great week.
Bye.